Hello guys, my name is TheRussianBadger, and the first thing that I have to tell you is that this video is actually originally going to be a live commentary between Kia and myself, but I decided to just scrap that because our keyboards are way too loud, and especially when mine is right next to my mic. I think you guys have probably heard that on the live stream, just click-clack, 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 over and over and over again. And it's not really conducive to a very good speaking system. Like, if you were to actually hear it, it would be something along the lines of just click-clack over and over and over, and then in between that you can kind of hear us talk, and it's not a perfect environment. But the SPAS 12 I will get to in just a second. And the whole Operation Metro, let me address that first. I know it sounds weird, and it is weird, that I'm playing Operation Metro 32 players on a Conquest server. But we all know that those servers exist, especially in... I like to think nowadays, compared to the release, nowadays a lot more of them exist in terms of adaptive servers, servers that change game modes really often. Like, oh yeah, I thought I was playing, you know, the original maps of Battlefield 3 of 32 players on normal and not hardcore under all of these settings. Next round of the game, why the hell am I in 64-player back-to-Karkan Conquest Assault? This makes no sense. I did not join this server to play this kind of game mode with this kind of settings. What in the... like, what? I never asked for this, and I don't get why this happens. The other thing is that Kia and I also played... oh, God. Alright, it's... for those of you that have played it, and those of you that play it regularly know exactly what I'm talking about. 64-player rush on some of these maps is bananas. Alright, it's bananas. It's silly. Just some of the stuff that goes on is so goofy in terms of, I didn't know you could have that many grenades in that close of a proximity on a map other than Operation Metro 64-player Conquest. And these guys just would not die. Okay, so there's there's two, I believe. And then the other two come for me, they throw a bunch of nades, and this guy gets, don't do it, young blood, get dunked on right in his face. The other two come, and look at this, okay. Collateraled. Bananas. Bananas. That's just silly. Why would you ever run in... I don't think there's synchronized skating on tile in this sort of Operation environment, or Operation Metro environment. I have... all day, Kia and I have been making fun of it so much, I almost forgot to call it Operation Metro. We'll call it Operation Meow Meow, Operation anything you can think of. Just Operation Cataracts, Operation more RPGs into my mouth, please. That's so silly. Look at this. RPG after RPG after RPG. Just, don't you have something better to do, like your taxes or anything but fire that many RPGs in my position? It gets really silly. But what I was discussing with Kia throughout the duration of this video was essentially why the SPAS is so good on Operation Metro. And sort of the maps where you have a lot of instances where you will come around a corner, or you will look around or peek around a certain area, or I would say particular corner, and it's usually I hold down my left click and you hold down your left click, and whoever has the better weapon and accuracy pretty much wins the gunfight. Well, that is the way it goes with the majority of weapons of Battlefield 3. Well, because the SPAS 12 is so unique, and somehow hit him in the legs or the lower torso section, somewhere around his pelvis, and I only got him down to 9% health. Luckily, I did get revived, but just in general, that is the only frustrating part about the SPAS 12 with the slugs on it. And I know it... I would actually say it's probably borderline overpowered. Like, I would be a huge catfish if I actually used this thing. If the SPAS 12 with a one-shot kill to any part of the body, for that kind of a distance, good morning, Carl. That it would be so broken, I probably wouldn't use it myself. And I think the tables have turned in terms of Bad Company 2 with shotguns. And yes, this flanking maneuver works really well as I get one in the face, second guy in the back, 3, 4, and 5. Right in the mouth. Man, that must hurt, especially with a slug. Now, check out this catfish over here. Okay, so he kills Kia, right? I hit him once. I miss him a second time. Get him right in the dome piece, but he whips out his smaw. That's just... that ain't fair, bruh. That ain't cool, bruh. That ain't cool. Why are you bringing the smaw to a SPAS fight? That's just not... I almost said smaw to a gunfight, and I thought to myself, who would... I picture this old western scene of this guy that just walks up with a revolver, and this guy's got a smaw hanging out of his pocket. He just looks at him like, what in the is that? Like, what? I don't know why my brain runs on that morbid tangent in that direction. I can't tell you why, but it just happens to do so. And what I wanted to say is, in terms of Bad Company 2 versus Battlefield 3, I really do feel as if the tables have turned, as in the pump shotties are now extremely good in terms of the Battlefield series, and I can't say the semi-autos are bad, because you could probably argue for the semi-autos to be kind of good, but I think to myself, you know, the M1014 and the blinding light. Oh man, I didn't even know the sun was available in this kind of a subway tunnel, but Kia always revives me, because I think we all know that sort of strategy in terms of, oh, look, a medic train is pretty unstoppable. Even with 2 people, Kia and I found it to be very, very effective. And you can tell with 4 people, especially on like a 64-player Rush server, it's just, it's silly. It's broken to the point where if they're all using an M16 and they're all using the assault class, just uninstall, please. Please uninstall. Please. And what else I wanted to say is that in terms of Bad Company 2, you all remember this, the Sega. It was the Sega and the, what was the, oh, the Sega and the USAS. But I've never, no, it was the Polly Pocket Sega. That's what I always used to call it the Polly Pocket Sega, because I thought you were a little 12-year-old girl if you actually used it, because you had no skill with any other weapon. But I think at this point in time, I would say the USAS and the USAS, the Sega, and the M1014 are all pretty garbage. And the first 3, sometimes I miss if he's running in a lateral movement. It's sometimes it's difficult to hit the guy. But I would definitely like to say that the Sega, the USAS, and the M1014, pretty garbage. And this flank works yet again. There's 1, 2, and I guess that's all I get. Later on, you will see it is crushing to a team if they don't look at their flanks, especially on 32-player. And this is why I definitely like 32-player a lot more. And I'll get to that in a second once I finish my point. And enjoy your marshmallows, bro, but I'll finish my point with the whole... I think in Bad Company 2, in general, obviously the Sega and the USAS were extremely good weapons for close quarters. And I think at this point in time, in terms of Battlefield 3, the USAS and the Sega are not all that good of a weapon in terms of their comparison to the pump shotguns, especially when they have slugs. So if I have the SPAS with slugs, I would easily take that in most situations when compared to the Sega and the USAS. Even the M10, I think the M1014 is particularly bad. I used it today. I haven't really used it with extended mags, but it seems like in general, it's just not, it's not good enough. The whole semi-automatic thing is not good enough to justify how little of a range it has. Even compared, I know shotguns are inherently supposed to have a limited range because that's what balances them within the other weapons of the system, but it's such a limited range. Like, you're busting all your buckshot and the guy's like 20 meters away and he doesn't die. It's really frustrating. And I think it's just silly. I feel like killing myself and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to commit suicide right now and just switch to the SPAS or switch to an 870 because it's so much more productive. And this whole M1014 SPAS U12 USAS 12 thing, the Polly Pocket Sega, it's just not worth it. It's just silly, at least you ask me. I think the Dow is another story simply because of the capacity and the damage that it outputs. I think in comparison to the other three, I believe they're fairly similar, but I feel as if I've just performed a little bit better with the Dow because of the capacity. But I think in general, just from the transition from Bad Company 2 to Battlefield 3, I would say that the pump shotguns now reign supreme, and I think that's the way it should be, because I think they should definitely reward skill over just, I'm spamming a shotgun in your general direction and I'm slaughtering you and 4 of your teammates. I think we can all agree that that's quite silly. But what I wanted to say about Operation Metro is that I actually don't think it's too bad on 32-player Conquest. And I think in 32-player Rush, it's not so fun because everything is so set in, not necessarily set in stone, but I would say everything is so dictated by the direction that you spawn in terms of, oh look, you spawned over there and I spawned over here, and that automatically creates the choke point around this, I believe it's the, what is that, the third base? Yeah, the third base of Operation Metro Rush. But I think in 32-player Conquest, you have such flexibility because anybody can flank any direction they want, and it's not necessarily always going to be, oh, there's the catfish with a PKP bipoded with a 3.4 times ready to cut you in half, and that's the really great part about it. And yet again, the SPAS is so much fun. Here's what I was oh Lord, don't do it, young blood. That's way too many. Oh man, that is, I was not expecting to see that around the corner, because you guys remember on the previous flank, all I found was what, 2 guys? I think I only 2 or 3 guys. I only think I believe I only got 2 of the guys that were there. So, and yes, yet again, that same guy with the blinding light, and I happen to pick up his gun in just a second here. So I can't rain on him. I can't hate on him too hard because obviously I'm going to pick up his weapon here. But I definitely like to say that Operation Metro on 32 players is a lot more suited for maneuverability in terms of how you interact with your enemies and combat in general. You can move around a lot more. You're not constantly pinned down. You're not constantly suppressed. You're not, oh, there's 25 grenades at my feet. Which direction should I run before I explode into a million pieces? That's just silly. I think the 32 players definitely add some maneuverability, and the trash can is not always the perfect clipping spot because sometimes you can always get popped in the head, and that's not always the most ideal thing, especially if you're losing by over 150 tickets. Yes, I do end up going down, but I noticed that it's almost inherent in my gameplay and my behavior. It just turned into, you know what, I don't have the SPAS anymore. I feel like dying now because I want the SPAS back. And it's not as if, yes, I have heard a lot of you say that the SPAS is overpowered. I don't think that the SPAS is overpowered by any means. I think over long distances, especially when people are on the move and with multiple enemies, it's much more difficult to pull off kills. It's definitely a, not only, I'm not saying I'm restricting it to sort of a close range type weapon, but I can easily say that it's not designed for picking off multiple enemies beyond anything to short to medium range. Even at medium range, yeah, sure, if you hit the guy in the face, and that can be effective, and that works a lot when you have a lot of city maps, because a lot of guys are stationary behind some kind of object and you can hit them right in the mouth or right in the dome piece. It's really simple, but with a lot of those maps that are less urban oriented, then it's much more difficult because people tend to move around a lot more than the stationary positions that they take in the urban environments because cover is so abundant. On those like natural maps, those really big, whether it's a woodland or like the snow map or any kind of other maps that don't have a whole lot of city-born cover, then people move around a lot more and the shotgun's not as effective. So I can easily say the city maps are much more conducive, or more conducive. Get dunked on, bro! But I can easily say the city maps are much more conducive to a SPAS type environment in terms of thriving with a shotgun. Just those of you that say the SPAS is overpowered, go use it on like I want to say anything from, and I was going for the knife, but I think Kia shot him in the face. Or whatever. I would like to say that if you really think this SPAS is overpowered, go try it on something like Caspian Border, or try it on Kaisar Railroad, or any of those really, really large endgame maps, and you can easily tell it's not overpowered because it's not good in those types of situations. So I guess you could argue that it's very, very productive in the close quarter situations, but I think that's what it's designed to thrive in. So I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Hopefully tomorrow. I might do some kind of goofy loadout tomorrow. If you guys want me to do a goofy game mode, like I'll even play Team Deathmatch if you guys really want me to. But I will see you guys next time. Your bonus clip is going to be when I was playing with Big Money and Kia, and this joker, this trickster, decided to put some C4 in a really ideal location, and I found it pretty humorous. Hopefully you will as well. But I will see you guys next time. Auf Wiedersehen und bis bald und later. Many nades thrown that way, I guess. Okay, there's a guy down below you.
No, they ran off.
Oh, did? Oh, okay.
They're gonna steal our chopper.
They were real scared.
Never mind, they all just ran away.
Oh,
he jumped. What a cool guy.
Ah, someone put C4 on it.
Oh,
Someone put
run,
C4
run,
on
run,
it.
run, run, run!
Go on that, man. Why?
Oh man, that guy is chilling on
behind
a
us.
rock right now. Oh, I got him.
Oh no,
that
that
is just silly. All right, that is just.
I threw a grenade at it like 2 minutes beforehand.
What?